That's the power. Hey, that's movie magic, baby.
That's movie magic, baby. Make it happen.
That's movie magic, baby. Hell yeah. Well, let's get right on into it. It is What You Spin in episode 87. I'm here with my boys, my partners in crime, Matt and Jake. How are we doing today, fellas?
Fabulous.
Grooving. Excited. It's going to be a good weekend.
Yes, indeed. Hell yeah. We got to ask the question we ask every time we meet. Outside of the albums, anybody listening to anything cool, sick, new, revisiting an old album that you want to like shout out again? What? Anybody got anything? Gimme.
Oh man.
If not, give me 2 seconds and I'll have one pulled up that I found out.
I know. I was trying to think of what I've been diving into. Kind of going down the ambient.
Ooh, fuck yeah. What kind of ambient? Like Brian Eno or Aphex Twin?
No, Tim Hecker is an ambient artist. He released a new album recently. There was a track that came out a few weeks ago, and the album came out last week, I think. And it's a little bit more experimental and a little bit more out there, but I don't know, it's enjoyable. It's different, you know. I love my Brian Eno, but I like to hear other aspects and other versions of what he does, and this guy's really good. So I've been doving in that a little bit, and that's about it. Yeah.
Hell yeah, Tim Hecker. I think I've seen the name pop up somewhere in like the ambient stuff. So I wrote him down. I'll have to remember to take a peek next time I see him.
Check it out.
Jake?
Check it out.
Cool. I'll need to check that out too. I have it right now. Just because Super Bowl was like not too long ago, I've been diving back into Kendrick stuff. This morning actually was just listening to These Walls. Like that song a lot, but GNX, I've been bumping a lot of GNX lately. I like that West Coast bounce, like that funk that he brought with that feel, like very like Too Short kind of like Bay Area funk. Bay Area hip hop. So it's really good, and also dove back kind of into the beef that he had with Drake, like Euphoria. That track is fucking nuts. But yeah, it kind of got me back into Kendrick a little bit.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's been a mainstay since it came out. Audrey's been obsessed with that album. Doechie's new album is really good. She featured on Houses Burning. Alligator Bites Never Heal. It won. I didn't know that we were doing Grammys for mixtapes now, but fucking hell yeah. It won, I think it won rap album or something of the year, like rap mixtape of the year at the Grammys, which take that as you will, but it's a fucking banger as well. If you like that type of shit and the kind of shit that we've brought up, it's very good. She's killing it right now. And then GNX as well. But I was on Facebook the other morning at like 6:30 in the morning making some eggs, and I'm scrolling reels as you do, and a fucking Facebook ad gave me a really cool album. It was like it was promoting, I think, like some vinyl selling website, like Discogs Adjacent or something. It was some weird like vinyl selling website. But it's a French guy he goes by the Offline, and it's Les Cigales. And it's like super jazzy hip hop, like instrumentals, but it's like leans more into like live instrumentation jazz, but it sounds like the way that it was described on Bandcamp was like, it reminds you of the 50s and 60s films that your favorite hip hop producers sample from, and it very much does. I'll send you guys a link. It's short, little 20-minute project, but it fucking bangs. It's actually pretty sick. Cool. It's like a nice throw it on and cook, or have just like a nice gentle morning. Pretty sick. Okay. So
is it like a compilation of different people, or is it just one artist?
Yeah, it's just one guy named the Offline. I think it's a guy. Just one dude. The Offline. And
send that. I want to hear that.
I like the sound of that.
I'm gonna do it right now. You guys would really like it, actually.
Okay.
Cool.
And I immediately, where do find this. I was like, hold on. I was like, what was that? But hell yeah. Cool. Well, then shall we get right into it, boys?
Let's jump in.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, we will be right back to kick off episode 87 of Whatchu Spinnin. Stick around. Oh, dudes, I have a synth pedal. I think I might have told you guys about this thing. You can plug it into my computer, and there's like a database of like hundreds of presets for it. Mm-hmm. I now have the perfect tone for Chameleon by Herbie Hancock. Like it legit like perfect replica tone, and I've been searching forever. I was like, oh my god. Like fuck yes. Real fucking sklorky stuff. So
nice.
But hell yeah. Well, speaking of stuff that makes you just want to groove out, I'm really excited about this pick, Jake. I'm really excited to pick your brain on it. Like, how the hell did you get across it? But why don't you tell the people what you are bringing to the table for Whatchu Spinnin?
Yeah, this is one I don't even know how I stumbled upon it, but I just did. It's 2021 Mdou Moctar Afrique Victime. Came out in 21. This is the inside. It's a gatefold. It's kind of has a picture of the main guy, Mdou, and his band members. I believe it's the 5th album that they've done. Yeah, it's. I think I stumbled upon this initially. Like I was looking online, like at the time, like best new artist or something, or like a list of like the top albums of the year or something. I don't know. And then I stumbled upon this, and I've always been like interested in world music, like just different stuff from different places, and this just popped up, and the like cover art caught my attention, and then I saw a lot of people praising it, and it got on a lot of lists, a lot of awards. So I was like, huh, interesting. Listened to a song. I was like, okay, this is different. This is not something I'm used to. It has like psychedelic rock kind of, but just like from another world in a way. And then just heard the whole thing, and then I was like, okay, I gotta get this. And I think I picked it up at Moon Rock like a couple years ago, and since then it's been something that I don't spin as often, but every now and then that I hear it on shuffle or something, it just brings me back to that rediscovery that I had with it. But yeah, it's like it's from a Nigerian guitarist, and it's like psychedelic Saharan rock is how I would describe it. It's mainly in a language called Tamashek. It's Turek people, so they're speaking Tamashek, and there's like there's like a song also that speaks French. But yeah, just kind of fucking out there, kind of interesting. If you like rock, if you like indie, kind of it's in that genre. So wanted to bring it up, wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. So yeah, what did you guys take away from it?
Go ahead, Dorian.
Okay. Yeah, this, like you I don't even know where to begin, man, because it is like a psychedelic, like indie type of thing, right? This is like what they listen to on Tatooine from Star Wars, man. It's just like desert vibes, but like
desert blues, man.
Yeah, desert blues. I'm like, yeah, this is fucking Tatooine speeder music. Like this is insane, and it's incredible. And then you read up about Mdou, and he built his own guitar out of bicycle cables because his parents didn't like electric music because of like religious reasons. And you're like, what the hell? And he didn't have like a proper left-handed guitar, basically. He had already put an album out. And shout out to you, Jake, because this is like, I've always wondered, I'm like, yeah, what is like jam band music sound like in, Africa, or like I wonder what Indian hip hop music, like that kind of shit always
Yeah.
like what's popular,
Hmm.
because it's like, we think it's like, oh, Counting Crows, like that was a popular American band, for a while, and everybody knows that. But I'm like, what is like, Mexico's Smashing Pumpkins or Aerosmith, whatever you want to
Hmm.
compare Cafe Tacuba to, but then you get like this is nuts. It's the like psychedelic version of that, you know what I'm saying? It's like Nigerian jam band almost type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's why I texted you, Jake, like early on. I was like, this is insane. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there going back and listening to like Grateful Dead and then like Goose and then this, because I was testing it. I was like, how crazy could this get? And so I was like, if they, yeah, I love this, man. Good pick.
It's an excellent pick. It's almost comforting. The music itself, it's just very relaxing in a sense. It, like we said, it has that desert blues kind of feel, and they're all very positive and uplifting. I know a lot of the lyrical content and a lot of the things he's talking about aren't so positive, but he's bringing to light a lot of things that are going on, whether it's in Africa or around that area with different things, political things that are going on. I enjoyed the album. The album cover is amazing. It's beautiful. It kind of takes you back a little bit. It's got that little front to it. And I just like the unique blend of guitars, man. He sounds like Hendrix in a sense. Like he's kind of doing those solos and going on for days. And I don't know, it all blends so well together. The song structures. And I think this was the first album that he actually used like studio equipment and like professional like engineering all around and like went full board. So that's pretty cool. It's like I wonder what the other albums sound like, because this is pretty clean. It sounds great. Definitely gonna look for it because I like this so much. It just took me on a journey for the most part. I felt like I was with him the whole time, and he's just taking me all across his brain in a sense, taking me through a journey in his mind, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad. I love hearing that, because it's definitely one that kind of takes you out of your comfort zone. And because if you don't look into it, if you don't listen to, because I can't understand it. It's a different language, different dialect. That's what's so unique about it, is that it's music. Like, it's music to your ears. You don't need to understand what he's saying or speak the language, but it's music. Music is its own language. It has its own meaning to it. But yeah, he does have a lot of like actual, very realistic views and thoughts on his music. Like, it talks about a lot of trials and tribulations that's going on in Africa, and like colonization with the French, and a bunch of conflicts and stuff. And also there's a lot of like love songs on here. So it's very deep what he's saying, and all the lyrical content. But for the music itself, like the guitar is nuts. The guitar is insane. The vocals also that he has, it's very clean and very beautiful. Like on the song Talatanam, it's like slowed down. It's like a slowed down acoustic track, and it's like there's like almost like a harmonized crowd behind him that just like sounds so beautiful when they're singing. Like they're all just in unison, all speaking together, and it has a little bit of everything. It has, the fast pace, rock, heavy, indie tracks, and then it has those slowed, mellow songs that are a little bit more, relaxed and calm down. So, it has a little bit of everything for everyone, and it's one that caught my eye. I'm so glad I looked into it, because it's, one of those things that you could just brush past and say, oh, why look into it? But it's a great album. It has so much backstory, so much history to it too, that it's just like eye-opening to what other people in other countries are doing, what other people way across the world, how they're getting their upbringing in music, how they started touring the world, all this stuff. So that really draws my attention to it, is just seeing other world music, how people get their uproots from it, and how they manage to get to my attention, get to my ears, is I think the journey that I like about it.
Yeah, I that's why I was so curious. I'm always so curious, like how people discover various artists and stuff, and especially like, to be quite honest, Jake, you discovering this isn't far-fetched by any means, but it is it does make me wonder, like, how the hell do you fucking stumble upon this? But I wanted to kind of backtrack to what you were talking about with that Tala Tanam song. That track has such like a big elegance to it. It just makes you think of like big ballroom scene, and you pointed it out perfectly. The crowd vocal effect or whatever that is that's going on, it really makes that song feel, because when you listen to like the music behind it, you're like, this just sounds very toned down in comparison to some of this, space insanity that we've gone on with a couple of these other songs leading up to it. And then the crowd vocal really makes that song. So I just wanted to agree with you on that. And yeah, I mean, what a pick, man. The cover is misleading as all hell. I thought this was going to be like some Superfly-esque type of stuff based off the cover. I was like, oh, this is going to be like funky soul, whatever. And then I get into it and I'm like, oh, holy shit. I could not have guessed that at all coming out of it. But I am a huge fan of this. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was a great pick, man. Like I said earlier, it's very comforting. The music and the melodies, everything just blends so well together and just like brings you into his world. And I love that about it. And this whole album is kind of a message from him about a lot of the things that are going on in Africa with the violence. And like you said earlier, Jacob, with the colonization. I mean, to make an album and put everything out there and like speak your mind like that, it's pretty cool, and just be able to do that and wrap it all up in a song is amazing.
Yeah.
And make it listenable, it's enjoyable, it's accessible for anybody. I mean, if you don't like this album, like, get lost. Like, there's something for everybody on here, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's comforting. You're in his own world. You're with him along on his journey. You're with him the whole time. That sounds kind of creepy, but that's just how I feel about the album.
Yeah.
I'm with it the whole time. I love it.
No, I agree with what you're saying there. That it makes total sense, and he has the sound of his voice is like very inviting, and every song ends and you're like, what's gonna happen next? The album starts off with like the sound of footsteps, and you're like, what the hell is this? And then it also ends with that same effect, which which is one of my favorite parts of the album. Was like, I love that open and closure of it, but it does invite you into like an intimate space of like, hey, here's how I truly feel about a lot of stuff that's going on, to where three dudes like us who have no idea what the hell he's saying can basically get the gist of it with his voice combined with the music that's been written to accompany that. It's truly remarkable, honestly. And then you read into the backstory. I read into that backstory and then listened to the album again this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. It kind of makes you listen to it in a different type of way, put different ears on, per se, I guess.
Yeah. It was really interesting reading up on it, and he's done a lot of like interviews and stuff since he's like gotten popularity in the States and really everywhere. But like, he got his start initially because he was making music, and in Africa, it's depending on where it is, I imagine, but there isn't a lot of reception and there isn't a lot of like physical media. So people were passing along his music through like Bluetooth and like MP3 files. Like, they would like hook their Bluetooth up with someone and like transfer, what they're listening to essentially in that way. And in an interview, he said that like he didn't realize how like big it was getting, or like how popularized his music was, until he like was on a bus ride and people were playing it off of their phones, and then the bus driver started playing a different song off of his phone, and like he's all in this bus with these people, like they're playing his music that he didn't know about. And like, I guess for this album, like in homage to that, they released a Nokia phone that had all the songs downloaded onto it as like a special release.
Nice.
Like, that's fucking badass. Like, I tried finding like pictures and images and like more information on it, but it's a Nokia phone, and it's like one of those like old brick phones, and they're only made for like, places that have like 2G coverage, so like not in America. But like that's so unique. That's unheard of. Like you
Mhm.
release your own special phone with songs downloaded of the album to people. Like that's fucking nuts.
It is nuts. It's crazy.
I love that. Can you imagine being him on that bus though, being like, "What? Like, how surreal that must have been."
Mhm.
Just like,
Mhm.
this sounds familiar. Wait a fucking minute. Like,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I had forgotten about that detail. I love how it all like ended up coming back to him at that point. Like that's like I said, that's got to be so surreal to just have that just casually, on your way to the store or whatever. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
12 people on this bus are bumping my
Yeah.
shit. How insane is that?
So
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just the backstory, the upbringing of it, and like everything about it, all the details of the lyrical, the music, the history. Like it's what made me like really get a lot more out of this album than I thought I would. Because it's definitely one of those that I like had shelved in my collection, and I was like, you know what, let me bring something up that I'm kind of in this kick of bringing stuff outside of the U.S. Let me bring this up to kind of get more appreciation out of it, and I feel like I definitely did. And I just wanted to share that with you guys and with anyone else listening, because it's definitely outside of the wheelhouse of what we're used to here. So
A
it's
little bit. A little bit.
yeah, it's nice to like extend the reaches out to different areas.
I love the album, man. It's a great pick. Like, just unique all around.
Incredible. Classic Jake bringing up something that I have to get yesterday.
Exactly.
Cool. Right on. Well, we can top three it up.
Hell yeah, baby. Hit me.
Honorable mention, I'm going Afrique Victime, the title track. That's where he gets lyrical about it and talks about the issues going on and where he's from, where he originated. Number three, I'm going Chismitin. That's a killer intro to the album. And you just hear that guitar going nuts. Second is Talia. Love that song also. A lot of these, it sounds like he's doing like effects on his guitar, and like some songs are lower pitch, like they're different like setting on the guitar. So that's cool, kind of seeing the versatility. And then my top track is Talatanam. That's like the track that I hear, and it's so different from the album that it gets my love for that one.
Hell yeah. Honorable mentions for me, Chismitin and Yahabibiti. Two really good songs at the start of the album. Kind of the same feel. Just make you kind of wonder what the hell's going on. Just very, like, I felt like those tracks were very expansive, to put a word on it. Number three for me was Afrique Victime, the title track. Love that one. Number two, Talatanam. I feel like that's going to be a commonplace amongst the three of us. And then number one for me was Taliat. That song had a lot of texture, a lot of layered, like a lot of texture and like layered percussion on it that I really liked. Yeah, so Taliat, my number one.
Nice. Honorable mention for me was also the title track. I mean, it's good. That's all we got to say about that one. Number three, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, but it's the last track, Bismali Ataga. I love that song. It was a fun song. Number two, Astige Akal. Again, I think you just like us pronouncing these words, Jacob.
Yeah.
This, you asshole. Anyway.
Yeah.
Just joking. And then my favorite track was Taliat. It's a good song. Love that one.
Hell yeah. Good stuff, Jake. As always, like that we've gotten more recently. We've been getting into these world picks, and I'm here for it. But yeah, that was Jake's pick for this week. This episode 87 of Whatchu Spinnin. Mdou Moctar's Afrique Victime from 2021. Some crazy cool psychedelic indie rock from the country of Niger. Anyway, go ahead and stick around. We'll be right back to go back in time a little bit and talk about Matt's pick for this week. Go ahead, stick around. It's Whatchu Spinnin, episode 87. Oh boy, am I excited to talk about our next pick for this week. Matt followed in my footsteps from last episode, if you remember, if you were watching that last one. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and introduce it right now.
I will. I did tippy toe and jump on your back and took it for a spin. Yep. Kind of followed in your footsteps. 2014, band called Foxing. This album is The Albatross, and I just stumbled across it looking at videos on YouTube back in about 2014, 2015 or whatever. That's where I found From Indian Lakes. The song Ghost on that album we reviewed was a video. And then I found Foxing. There was a video for Rory, and it's a weird video. And that song's a little dark and kind of sad, but that got me into the band, and I dove into this album. It was interesting enough. And then went through a divorce, and this album played a bigger part in me getting through some of that than I thought it would. Looking back on it, you know, it just helped me kind of focus on moving forward and not looking back. Even though the lyrical content on this is a little bit different than that, it helped me kind of move forward. And, you know, I appreciate that about music, when it can help you get through a life situation, whether it be a happy one or a sad one. If you can use music as a crutch to get through that, I think it's a good thing in a lot of ways, and more people should utilize that, and that might help them a little bit more. But I love his vocal. His vocal's the most important part of this album. It's haunting. He's expressive. He goes soft. He goes screamo, and he puts it all out there. The drumming on this album is amazing. Different drum beats. Superb.
So good.
So
it's
good.
Incredible.
Right? So good. And I like how the beginning of the album starts off a little bit more somber, but then halfway through it picks up a little bit, I think, you know, lyrically and just musically, it picks up a little bit more. So it's a little bit more fast paced. All in all, it's emo to the extreme. It's screamo, if that's a genre. And for me, it was inspirational. So I hope you guys liked it. What'd you think?
This is an incredible pick, man. This album is everything that you just described and then some that you can't. That you can, like, as you said, the drumming on it's incredible. His vocal is haunting and everything. He reminds me a little bit at times. He reminds me of Pat the Bunny from Ramshackle Glory.
Yeah.
That we covered. He kind of gives me that vibe on songs like The Medic. And you said it perfectly. He gets screamo at times on, Bit by a Dead Bee Part 1. Incredible song title also. Yeah. And to have it start off with like the piano and everything, it kind of does throw you a little bit of a fastball. And then as you listen to it, you're like, oh, now it makes sense as to why me bringing up American football inspired you to bring this up, because that guitar tone and almost math rock leanings are still there. It's emo to its core. It's got the really intricate drum beats. Like nothing is the same throughout the album. Really incredible pick. And then it's one that its album cover has the same type of haunting kind of energy as like the music itself does, but it's very simplistic. I just love I love everything about this, honestly. And I think that the album cover is like a perfect representation of the music itself. If you catch what I'm saying there. But this wonderful pick, man. Love it.
Yeah, I share the same sentiment. Great pick. It took me a couple listens before that I actually started, getting into some of the tracks a little bit. I had the Medic on here as a liked song already somehow, so I guess I've stumbled upon them already. But yeah, it has like this almost similar feelings to American football. So that's some tracks are really fast, some tracks are really slow. Same thing. I'm gonna piggyback on this. His vocals are very strong. In some songs, it sounds like screamo, but also like scream poetry. Bit by a Dead Bee Part 1. That's where you hear it perfectly. That's where you hear it where it's like kind of like he's crying in a way, like he's yelling. Rory, that song is where this album really gets a lot of its power from. because it is like emo to its core, like to the vocals, to the instrumentation, like that is the emotional song on the album, and you hear it. So it has a lot of the same sentiments as American Football, and kind of in the same spectrum, but it's its own beast in itself. And all throughout, it's pretty solid. They all flow pretty well. The songs are pretty good. Into It, I think, is a great up and coming starter songs on the album, and then it ends really good with Den Mother, super solid track. So it's really grew on me a lot over the last 2 weeks. So great pick.
I'm glad you guys liked it. Yeah, that transition from Bloodhound to Into It is amazing. You don't even know the song switch. It's almost like the same song. And it took me a while to be like, oh, that's a different song. And I love that about an album when it's like one long song and it just flows so well together. But the drumming, I love how they mix it up, the offbeats, and the guitar work is a little similar, but it flows so well together. And like you guys have all said, his voice and his vocal it brings it all together. He speaks his mind and puts it all out there. If you guys have a chance, watch that video for Rory. It's one of the first things that made me want to listen to this band more. I was like, all right, it has like the music video aspect, and then have the live video aspect. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love a good music video like that, where it's like the kind of a split thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that shit. It's shit.
It's emotional, man. I mean, it's out there. He's just yelling, and you wonder what he went through, like why he wrote some of these things, and it gives you a perspective that everybody goes through things in life that we all go through, and hearing how they get through it is pretty cool. I wish I could scream out like that, write lyrics like that. He's a good songwriter.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you listen, or if you read the lyrics as you listen to some of this stuff, it really drives that point home, that it's like, while the finished product is so amazing, like you really got to like read or listen to what this guy's saying, and it's stuff that is very clearly, maybe it's not an exact retelling of a story that he went through, but it puts you right into these kind of worlds that he's creating. I'll go back to it. The song The Medic, that opening line, she says, you always smell like cigarettes, and then just tell me to slow down. It's like, fuck, we've all been in, like, that's almost everybody's been in a relationship like situation like that, where you're like, you feel like you're just growing too fast or whatever, like, just tell me to slow down is like such a relatable thing, I feel like. And yeah, you put it perfectly. He's an incredible songwriter for that, and for a litany of other reasons, and examples on here. But one of the things that I really liked about this album is that it's not that it's short, but it's like the most worthwhile 31-minute album you'll hear in a long time. A lot of those albums that are that short of a runtime, it's usually like punk or like hardcore like projects, and you're like, whoa, that went by so fast. It's like the longest 30 minutes, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel like it at all, because the music goes so many different places while also keeping this main theme. Incredible work. I absolutely love this.
It was hard. I was contemplating on bringing up their second album, Dealer, which is a little bit more musically amazing. But I felt like this debut album was just so much more me and emotional, and kind of fit the mold of what I was kind of going for after listening to American Football. And I'm glad you guys found little pieces that you liked. It's a good album for sure. Definitely captures that emo vibe to the core. Like, if you want to talk emo albums, this is it right here.
Right.
Yeah. I do see a lot of people online talk about Dealer, and that it has positive reviews, so I want to look into it. But for a debut album, like, and I feel like also for that scene, I mean, I don't know a lot of emo albums recently, but I feel like it'd be hard to be up and coming in that and just have such a strong start. And this album is that for Foxing. I feel like I mean, they have a 10-year anniversary for it, that they did a couple demos and like live action that I saw that on Spotify. So that in itself, it shows they had a lot of love for this album, and for a starter album, it's always special. So yeah, great pick. Really got to dive into their other stuff. I saw they just released the album not too long ago, so definitely gonna have to listen to some more other stuff.
Definitely different later on. Their sound changes for sure. It's not like emo anymore. It's more like, I don't know, polished, which is fine. Everybody grows into their own craft, but for me, when a band does that and strays away from their formula, it's hard to stay a fan. But the first 4 albums from Foxing are solid, so
okay.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
Cool.
Hell yeah. It's hard. It's very hard to pull it off, like the straying away from your main sound. It's hard to do that and like have it be effective. Like and that's why you become grateful that certain artists have released like 20 albums. It's like, yeah, there's like a couple of honkers, after like albums 3 through 5 are pieces of shit.
Right.
But then 5 through 28 are incredible. Something like
just
that.
ask Iron Maiden. Just ask Iron Maiden.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Iron Maiden, Megadeth, any of them. Like, for real. Oh, you get it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You guys want to dive into the top 3s?
We can. Yeah.
Let's do it. Honorable mention for me was Into It. It just the transition from Bloodhound to that song is amazing. Number 3 was a ending track, Quietus. I like how that song blends a lot of their sound together. Number 2, Bit by Dead Part 1. And then The Medic is my track, man. Go back to that all day. Smell like cigarettes. Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
I know.
I have to wait on
I
it.
beat you to it.
Yeah, nice. She tastes like cigarettes. For me, honorable mention, Rory. That's where I get that emo feel. I get that emotional lyrics. It's powerful what he's saying. And now that I know there's a music video to it, I have to. I gotta look it up. Number 3, Bit by a Deadbeat Part 1. I love his vocals. He's just different. Like it's screamo, but it's like slam poetry. It's like emotional. You could really tell he puts a lot of effort into it. Number 2, Inuit. I love that song. And then favorite track was Den Mother. I really, really, really came back to Den Mother. Like every time that I listen to albums, I'll like screenshot if I like a song, and like I'll look back at my pictures in my phone to see which one I've what I screenshotted and stuff. I had like 3 screenshots of Den Mother every time that I'd listen to it. So yeah, that's my favorite track.
Hell yeah. Hell yes, dude. I'll piggyback off that. Honorable mentions for me, Bloodhound, as Matt said, that lead into Inuit it did the same thing to me, and I love it when that happens. So shout out to that. And then piggybacking off Jake, Den Mother, man, second honorable mention for me. Love that song as well. It was a nice like start to the beginning of the end type of thing there. Number 3 for me was Inuit. Just a great track at the beginning there. Number 2, Bit by a Dead Bee Part 1. Just rewind about 5 minutes to hear us give that song all the love it deserves and then some. And then number 1 for me, same as Matt, The Medic, man. Just the lyrics on that and the drumming, it's just the drummer hits every single thing in his drum set on that song 80 times, I swear. It's just incredible. So yeah, shout out Albatross and Foxing, dude. Good pick, Matt.
I got one more little thing I forgot to mention. So I bought this album because I never bought it when it came out. I found it on eBay last year, and
Nice.
it was an original pressing from the first release. And when the band released it, they put these little notes inside the purchase. It's not directed towards me, but you can't really see it, huh? It's like, yeah. It says, "Thank you for your purchase." There we go. It's kind of silly. It's got a fox on it.
Oh,
But they
that's
rolled
cool.
those out for each of these releases. They're released on their label, and I think they did like a limited edition run. So it's kind of cool to get that on eBay. And then second story. So when I saw From Indian Lakes live eons ago, I bought tickets to get like a VIP pass. So the lead singer Joey like did like an acoustic performance for me and like 5 other people. And he's like, "What do you guys want to hear?" And of course nobody says anything. So what do? Raise my hand, tell them what I want to hear. But before that happened, my phone went off and it had a ringtone of a song off a Dealer. And one of the people in that room was like, "Oh, that album, that's a great song." So like everybody that's in that genre knows all these different bands. And it was really cool to see that happen right there. So yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's cool.
Oh fuck yeah!
I like that note. That's a cool like little personalized thing, and if that's handwritten, like they wrote that themselves.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
I'll believe it. It's probably true. We'll go with it. Yeah. I don't think the seller would have just done that, but we'll go with it. Yeah.
I love it. Hell yeah, man! I love both of those little details, and I have to go listen to Dealer. I already made a note for it.
There we go.
I gotta do it now.
Do it.
Hell yeah! Well, that was 2014's debut album from Foxing, the Albatross. Incredible group, incredible album. I'm gonna have to go down that little rabbit hole of theirs. We'll be right back to dive into the next one on episode 87 of Whatchu Spinnin. Bam! Wow! Wow! Groovy. All right. It is just about time to wrap it up here for episode 87 of Whatchu Spinnin. But before we do that, we've got one last pick to bring for today's content, and that's my album. As I said at the end of last episode, I do believe this is my favorite album from 2024, and that is I Laid Down My Life for You by JPEGMAFIA. I believe this is also his 5th album that he has released. As I said, released in 2024. Deluxe edition just came out recently, which is 14 songs longer, and by golly, there's some heat on that as well. But we're just talking about the standard edition, but go ahead and give that a little listen while you're here. But anyway, yeah, what did you guys think of this?
I love the way the album starts off. If I was an NBA player, I'd be Dylan Brooks. Come on, dude. Like, yeah. If you know basketball and you know Dylan Brooks, that's hilarious, dude. Like, just a great way to start the album. I just want to say that right away. Yeah.
And it's even better for us because Dylan Brooks played at U of O.
At Oregon, yeah, dude. Right? Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Dude, I was cheesing like a motherfucker when I first heard that. I was like, this is the greatest. Like, it was very early into this album. I was like, this might be the best album from 2024. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
It's probably the most unique album I've heard as far as hip hop goes in the last 10 years. Like, as far as uniqueness and just abstract to a T, and just taking everything about hip hop and throwing it out the window, and just throwing everything that you know that's your life and what you've lived through and putting it on to an album. And that's what he does, and he does it so well. Like, man, all right, I'll stop. But it's great. It's so unique. Like, nobody else is doing this, and I don't know. He needs to get more praise than he is. I know he's loved, but like, this guy's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Peggy has come a long way. It's like hearing Veteran and then hearing this. Like, you see those little tiny little sparkles of like experimental and like being out there and being weird. And it's like a perfect follow-up to Scaring the Hoes. Like, this is the child that Scaring the Hoe like made. Like, this was created from Scaring the Hoes. So it's very experimental, very strange, very abstract, very different. The first half of the album is just all over the place. Like, you get Sin Miedo, and then you get songs like It's Dark and Hell is Hot that has like Brazilian funk.
Incredible.
I fucking love that, dude. I've been really into like Brazilian funk lately. So that's great. That's fucking awesome. And then he, goes into these like heavy hitting songs like New Black History, and like JPEG Ultra with Denzel Curry and Vince Staples. And, it's just this is just JPEGMAFIA being himself, producing himself, being, unique, being out there, always kind of taking the next step to hip hop, like bending the genre some more and kind of doing just random ass shit. So I love that about him. I love that he just has his own like genre of hip hop. Like he's not boom bap. He's not, in any lane. He's just doing his own fucking thing. And I love that. I love that. And yeah, Dorian, I share the same sentiment. This was one of my favorite hip hop albums, probably my favorite hip hop album last year. Just for its uniqueness, just how different it was. It's really impressive what he's doing.
Yeah, this is, as Matt said, this is incredibly experimental, and he at times is rapping or singing, like delivering his lines with such like bravado and swagger, and you can tell that this is one that I'm like, I would have loved to see the fucking recording process for this, because it sounds at times like he's having the time of his life, while over some of the most insane production I've ever heard, like just random shit. Like Jake, you quoted it. "It's Dark and Hell is Hot" is one of the craziest songs I've heard in the past handful of years. Yeah. But holy shit, it's so good. Like, just, and he does these things with these vocal samples where he just ends up chopping them, and then they just become part of the beat randomly, and it's crazy. Like the way that these tracks develop sometimes, man, are so weird and just so interesting to me that they just make you come back immediately. Like Sin Miedo, I scream this in the mirror. The title track, or the opening track to this, I played, like the first time I heard this, I listened to it like 3 times, because I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, the amount of times that there's a beat switch on that song alone, or throughout this entire album, it's just crazy. And I love when he's just like screaming at the top of his lungs. It's just, goddamn, dude. This album is so, I listen to this and I just have the time of my life. This has like been a mood booster for me for the past, not even 2 weeks. It's been like 3 months that I've just been like, I'm feeling kind of shitty. I'm going to put on "I Lay Down My Life for You." And then I don't give a fuck anymore. I just feel good.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's incredible.
Yeah, this album is a vibe, dude. It's so good. It's so good.
It gives me hope that hip hop is expanding and like trying different things, and artists like this are doing their own thing and like experimenting and what they love. Sampling 2 Live Crew. I mean, come on, dude. You got to be hip hop loyalty to be doing that. I mean, that's fucking cool. Or royalty, I mean.
Hey, mama.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, it's crazy.
That vulgar display of power, I feel like that is like a rock anthem when you hear it. And it's like, oh man, I see that, and that's definitely 100% his, like, where he got the inspiration from for that song, for sure. And then you have songs like "New Black History," which has a Flume credits also. Flume produced it. And I love that Flume and JPEGMAFIA are still having this relationship.
So good.
Like shout out Flume in his mixtape "Hi, I'm Flume," or "Hi, This Is Flume," or whatever. The track with JPEG on there a couple of years ago. Like I love that they're still doing that, because Flume is also kind of out there with like EDM and stuff. So EDM producer DJ collabing with one of hip hop's up and coming and really just on the map for JPEGMAFIA is fucking awesome. They also did on the deluxe edition, I don't know if you guys saw, but what's that song called? "Cult Status." Yeah. On the deluxe, that's also Flume producing it, so that's fucking sick. I feel like they have to have an album at this point that they both did, and I'm just waiting for it. I want it. But
is that your new hip hop conspiracy theory going into 2025?
Man, yeah, there has to be. I'm always on conspiracies and shit.
Red yarn Jacob coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, man, it's solid. I feel like towards the end of the track, you do see it gets a little less experimental, a little bit more hip hop, if you will. Like the song "Loop It and Leave It," that feels like a boom bap song. It's like, okay, he's playing to hip hop right there. It's not crazy that he's going. But yeah, man, it's an album for sure of the year last year. It's one of those great ones that I just love it. I love seeing new stuff from JPEGMAFIA that's just more and more fucking freaky, more and more weird. more and more good.
In a good way. It's a weird in a good way for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I particularly like just New Black History. Some kind of fun facts about that. Features Vince Staples. That Future sample at the beginning is from a Vince Staples and Future song called Senorita off of Vince's like first big album, Summertime '06. Incredible album. So I really loved that. Bring over. Love me some Vince Staples. The one of the things that I love about JPEG Mafia in general, but in particular when he does solo work, is that there will be an album full of some of the most insane shit you've ever heard in your life, and then 2 or 3 really nice like introspective tracks that you can play for like your girl, and it'd be like that'll be like this will make the playlist for me and the lady. And so I love that I'll Be Right There and Either On or Off the Drugs were both on this because it's the same thing. If you go listen to Veteran, there's like 1 or 2 songs off that. LP, same thing. Like there's several. That's like one of his things. It's like, hey, here's some crazy stuff, and then here's some nice like palatable stuff for you to try to get people into my music. And then if they dive too far down and stray from that too hard, they're gonna get no pun intended scared. Like it's just I love that shit. So just wanted to shout out those 2 tracks. But yeah, this is fantastic album. I'm glad that you guys liked it. I figured it would be kind of an easy bring up since we talked about Scaring the Hose and all that. And Matt, he produced on that album that's right behind you over your shoulder. So
and by the way, the director's cut, fantastic. And that's the way you got to do it. If you're going to make a deluxe album, like, don't just add 1 or 2 songs. He added a whole other album.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's too good.
When I buy my vinyl, this is the one I'm buying. Like, this is what I'm looking for when I go to a record store next time. Yeah.
Moonrock is where I found mine, and I think she had a copy last time I was there. So
nice.
Maybe. But hell yeah, boys. Do we want to top 3 it up then?
Let's do it.
Heck yeah. I will go first. Honorable mentions for me. I mentioned both of these songs in my last little closing statement there. New Black History, that Vince Staples feature is awesome, and love that Future is on there as well via a sample. Second honorable mention, Either On or Off the Drugs. Loved the cadence of that. Like his rap cadence is really nice on that. Number 3 for me, I scream this in the mirror before I interact with anyone. Just, again, the opening line, the fact that that's the first thing you hear on this album is if I were in the NBA, like, hilarious. Like, everything else I said about it is awesome. Number 2, I'll Be Right There. Love that one. The beat on it is fucking incredible. And then number 1 for me, I tried not to give it too much love because I could talk about this song for 20 minutes. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Love that he shouted out some incredible albums, this one being a DMX one. But yeah, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Him and that other producer, DJ Remamis or whatever, absolutely slaughtered that song. Production-wise, his verses on it, just really top-notch. So, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
For me, honorable mention was Either On or Off the Drugs. I love that sample in there. Turn Off the Lights, so good. Number 3, New Black History. Love the Vince Staples track. Number 2 is JPEG Ultra. I like that track. That was fun.
Nice.
And then number 1 was Sin Miedo. That was a good one.
Ooh, nice.
Nice. Honorable mention, Off the Deluxe. Yes, I did hear it. Sorry, I cheated. What the hip hop hell is this? I love that song. That song's so good, dude. That's a good one. I just, like, this morning I heard it and I was like, what the hip hop hell is this? Love it. Another honorable mention, JPEG Ultra. That was like what put me onto this album when I heard it. Man, dude, Denzel Curry, Kenny Beats, like with that beat on it, with the horns, it's so good. Number 3, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Same thing, Dorian. Just hear what Dorian said. That song is fucking killer. That Brazilian funk, Brazil. Number 2, New Black History. Love the Flume production. Also, really, really like another Vince Staple collab. I love him. Vince Staples is awesome. And my favorite track was Loop It and Leave It. just because it's a little bit more mellow, kind of easier to digest. But any track on here, man, just hear it, give it a listen. It's freaky as hell. It's interesting as hell. It's fucking awesome.
And there we go. Glad you guys like that one. But yeah, Matt, Moonrock is where you can find it. And that album being I Lay Down My Life for You by JPEGMAFIA, his album from 2024, which is my pick for this beautiful episode 87 of Whatchu Spinnin. We'll be right back to let y'all know what's coming in about 2 weeks' time. Go ahead and stick around. Peace. All right, let's go ahead and kick off the festivities of everybody's favorite part of every episode of Whatchu Spinnin', where we let you know what's coming next time we speak. As per usual, we go in the order that we spoke in today, which means, Jake, you're up first, man. Where are you taking us this time?
So this is album called is Planted Seeds. It's a collaborative album. It's hip hop. It's like a producer and two rappers, or two producers and a rapper. I don't know. But it's Noah the Flood, SD Knack, and El Mariacho. Planted Seeds came out in 2019.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Well, Dorian, your pick, JPEG, inspired me for my pick, which is Denzel Curry. It's up on my wall there. Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, the very top there. 2022 release. Let's go.
Fuck yes, dude. All right. Well, Matt told me to wait, so I'm not bringing up a Deftones album leading into me seeing them live. But I'm going to pick something that has been real nice for me the past couple of weeks. It's been kind of shitty and cold and wet here. I've been kind of just like mellowing out a lot. And an album I keep going back to is 1998's Boards of Canada. Music Has the Right to Children, their debut project again from 1998. Real good. They're on the same record label as Aphex Twins, so do with that what you will. But yeah, Music Has the Right to Children.
Nice pick, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. That's a fun one. Hell yeah. We've got Planted Seeds, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, and Boards of Canada. That's gonna be fun as hell, dude. And yeah, I'll have some concert recap stuff because Mars Volta's opening for Deftones, so that'll be fun as well. But yeah, boys, thanks as always for your participation and for talking about some sick ass music. And to all you at home, thank you for listening, watching, sharing, talking, listening to the music along with us. Go ahead and be a friend, tell a friend, let everybody you know about this podcast. Let everybody you know about this podcast. You can find us everywhere. We do have an RSS feed, so that helps with that. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Whatchu Spinnin. Follow me at Dorian Dilly on Whatchu Spinnin, constantly posting music stuff. I just post what I'm listening to, so maybe you'll find something that you like there. But anyway, I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that is Jake, and we are Whatchu Spinnin. This has been Whatchu Spinnin, episode 87. Go ahead and catch us later. Deuces.